Hi, my name is Kirsten. I'm an avid knitter and fibre artist and general all-round crafty person from Edinburgh. And this is my first time attending Tangled Galashiels, and I brought you along with me on the ride just to see what it's all about. Now, this event is held over 2 days on the Friday and Saturday at the end of May. It has been running for a few years now, but this is my first time attending, as I said. And it's a really, really pleasant little trip, very easy to get to from Edinburgh along the Borders Railway. So I've never really been to Galashiels before, but it's a very pleasant little town. The show is actually held over multiple locations around the town centre. There is the fibre market and the fleece market, which were very close to each other. And then there was also the Untangled Yarn store and events as well happening at the museum, which holds the Great Tapestry of Scotland. It's very, very easy to get around the town, and yeah, come along with me and we'll go and explore what the event had to offer. So first up we have the fleece market, and as the name suggests, this is the one with all the raw fleeces. But there was also a number of other stalls. So companies such as the Creation Mill had a lot of their mill ends, bits of wool, as well as fabric remnants from their tweed production, which were all very, very lovely to see. And I've actually seen this stall at a couple of other shows this year. But they have such an interesting array of stuff, and it was very, very tempting. I was rather taken with some of these tweeds that you can see on the screen now. I did resist, but there were also a few other things going on in this hall. We had things like the wool library. There was a demonstration from some of the local guilds with spinning, as well as an exhibition of sort of old spinning and weaving supplies as well, which was quite fun to see. Now, the main fleece market was sponsored by at Burkill House, and there was a lot of rare breeds. There was different fleeces. You could buy the whole fleece. There were little bags of sample bits. But it was just really fun to have a look around and get a look at the different fibres and how the fleeces looked in their raw and natural state. I was very taken by these jars with all the different shades of alpaca fleece, and the fact that all the jars were labelled was just hilarious. But there was also some art supplies, which are these little natural watercolours, all hand produced in little tins, as well as some yarn dyeing as well from some new to me yarn dyers as well, which was nice to see. I was very tempted by all these little mini skeins. I did resist, just. But it's fun to know they're there. I was also very taken by all these little needle felted portraits of the different sheep breeds. I just thought these were so, so cute. Um, and it's fun seeing the variety. So obviously the other main shopping area is the fibre market, and this is where you found most of the hand-dyed yarns, spun yarns, and other related knitting and textile projects. So lots of project bags, some really, really gorgeous hand-dyed. Giddy Yarns had some really, really fun inspirations for a lot of theirs. They did have some Terry Pratchett ones, but there wasn't any colours that were quite calling to me, so I did manage to resist. But I was very taken with some of the Beatrix Potter minis. Beaufort Yarns was also back, and I did indulge at their stall, which I will tell you more about later. The Border Mill had some very, very interesting rose blended fibres, which are just on the screen here now. And while I was very tempted, I didn't pick up any at this time, but I think this is something I'd like to maybe try and get next time I see them at a show, just because this fibre base feels absolutely unbelievable. And it does look like it will knit up beautifully. For the love of yarn, always have such beautiful displays. And if you ever get an opportunity to do any of the dyeing classes with them, I can thoroughly recommend it. I did a workshop with them at the Woolly Good Gathering back in 2025, and I had so much fun with it. At the gallery with the Great Tapestry of Scotland, there was also the Craftivism drop-in, and this year it was all inspired by the art and colours of Bernard Klein. And I had a go at doing the wet felting sort of project, making a little flower. And I also had a look at twisting yarns together to create medallions. And that was a really fun little thing, just sort of wrapping the colours all in different blends and twisting them and stitching them down to felt. There was also a weaving workshop which I didn't take part in. And last but not least, there is Untangled Yarns, which is just by the Great Tapestry of Scotland, and they have their own line of hand-dyed yarns as well. And it was just a really nice little shop just to have a little nose round at the end of the day. So if you are in Galashiels, it's worth popping in just to have a look at some of the lovely things that they do have. So in terms of shopping, I did not go overboard. I actually bought very little compared to some of the hauls I've had at other yarn shows this year. And actually everything that I did get was stuff that I'd seen at previous shows and I dithered over getting it or not. So it was really, really nice just to get another chance to buy it in person. And first up, I've got a couple of the little embroidery kits from Love, Live, Give Art. And I saw these at the Woolly Good Gathering. And they are just these absolutely gorgeous little embroidery kits. So this one's mushrooms in the purple and white. And then I've got a red and white spotted one. And these are just little embroidery kits that you can sort of attach to basically whatever you want, really. And this is something I have been curious about trying, is just sort of different forms of embroidery. So I thought this would be quite a nice little introduction, and I would like to get some project bags made this year, and I'm hoping I can possibly use these for those. So we shall see with those. And the other thing I got was, obviously I had to get some yarn, and I do apologise for the very crinkly bag, but this is the Mini Moon gradient set from Bow Fiddle Yarns, and it's this absolutely gorgeous gradient that goes from like almost a purpley grey all the way through to like the warmer tones and almost like a sort of dusky, rosy, dusty, pinky. A dusty pink rose, that's what I'm trying to say. But I saw this at Woolly Good Gathering again and I just really loved it. But given that I bought so much other yarn, I couldn't really justify it at the time. So I took this as an excuse to get it. This will probably become a shawl. I have no idea what shawl. I might make one up. We shall see. But I'm looking forward to playing with that. And the other things I got from Bow Fiddle Yarns were a couple of cables for my Knit Pro interchangeables, because I realised when I was doing a big sort out of everything back here, the organisation has continued, and I went through all my cable needles and all my interchangeable cables for my needles, and I realised a lot of them, the joints had gone loose or they'd snapped and the glue had sort of, yeah, a lot of them were causing snags and stuff. So I went through all those, figured out what I was missing, and while I was at Tangled, I realised that they had swivel ones, which I hadn't seen before. I would show you, but they've all vanished into projects. And I picked up a couple of those just to try out. Really love them, to the point where I have actually ordered more now online, and those will hopefully be with me soon. But the other thing I got was this little sort of key ring thing. And I have been knitting for many, many years, and I have an absolute blind spot when it comes with make one left and make one right, and I can never remember which way around they are. And I was looking at the websites of the various store holders before I went, and I discovered that Bow Fiddle Yarn do a little key ring, and it's got the which way round each of these are. So if I'm doing a shawl project, I can literally clip this to it and I won't forget what I'm doing. So I thought that was worth a couple of pounds, and it's quite funny, but I think it might actually be quite useful. So that was everything I purchased. Very happy with that. And it is one of the nice things when you're sort of doing yarn shows within a sort of fairly confined area and you see the same ones again and again, is that you do get second chances to get certain things. So that was all really, really lovely. And yeah, I will be planning to go back to Tangled Galashiels next year. It was a really lovely little trip out. Train journey down was really, really lovely. I've been on that train line so many times before and had never really gone farther than New Craig Hall type stops. So it was actually nice just to see what the rest of the line looked like. And I can confirm it was very, very pretty. So that was that. It was a nice little day out. I was tired after it, and that's one of the reasons this video is only coming out basically a month after the event happened, is because I overdid it towards the end of May and I've spent a lot of June just getting myself back to an even keel health-wise. So I am back now, and I will hopefully see you again very, very soon. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, click subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!